So Nicole, it's the biggest mug I've ever seen in my life. Please show.
I feel like it's not that. It's very standard
It loo-
American size.
it looked bigger
But
just
right
now.
here,
Yeah, like
right
there.
here.
That's big. That looks big. It's all about
Mm.
those angles, I guess.
I'm just kidding. I literally I have a joke with Taylor that all of my when I'm grilling meats on the skillet and I get a video of it, it's like ASMR,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
with the crackling of it. So I'm like, meat ASMR coming to you live. Um, but yeah, we're like finally moved in to our place. I have no more creepy mugs. So,
Just big
you know,
American ones.
just big American ones. Most of our mugs actually broke when they were shipped to us,
Wow.
which is like just the end, like just like the handle.
Yeah, it's very primitive.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of our cups now are like you have to hold them like this, because there's no handle. So anyway, so that's been interesting. We also there's a couple different things that I didn't know that were gonna happen. And luckily they're not bad, but we didn't have a backyard finished, landscaped for a while. So it was kind of just like this muddy dirt in our backyard. And
hmm
we let our dogs go out there once and Reagan legit almost got stuck in the mud because it was super deep, thick mud. But they finished it yesterday, so we were so excited. And then I guess our water heater or something got fried and it's brand new. Like our house was built a month ago. So we didn't have hot water for 24 hours. Which was kind of interesting, but
Oh
it
no.
was literally the most freak thing that the plumber had ever seen. There's a little gasket thing that goes into a water heater, and these are electric. All of Boise is now electric water heaters, which is
hmm
news to me. I did not know that. I thought it was gas because that's all I've ever known. Oh no, the thing was fried. It looked like it was electrocuted or something. And I'm like, okay. So we had to replace the whole part, and we were just like, cool.
Cool.
I'm
Cool.
glad. Yeah, because he
Everything's
was like,
fine.
oh, yeah, he was like, restart it and it'll get hot again. And then it never did. So I'm glad we called him and everything's situated. We have hot water again, but I actually didn't realize, dude, do you know how hard it is to clean a cast iron pan without warm water? It's pretty near impossible.
Damn, I can imagine, and
So
especially the
yeah.
amounts of like fats that we cook with
Yes,
as carnivores.
exactly. Yeah, so we literally just had to put it on the stove. We got it hot again, and then we poured it into glass cups, and then we tried our best to clean it. But we ended up going out for barbecue anyway last night because we were
Tell me
like,
about that. That looked
oh,
amazing. Where was this place?
yeah. So it's called the Rib Shack. And our plumber was telling us about it because I was like, hey Taylor, I'm gonna order some we don't have hot water. So obviously we should eat out. And he's like, oh yeah, you go to this place called Rib Shack that's down the street in Eagle, which is the town right next to us. And they actually would hand you a sample rib to eat while you're in line or while you wait. And I'm like, there's no way this is actually true. But I'm into it. So we literally left kind of later in the evening and went and got it. And we got I think we spent over $100 on barbecue, which we don't normally do that. And we just wanted to try everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got this is probably gonna make me really hungry, but I have some in the fridge so I can eat it. But we got a full rack of baby back ribs. So there's probably 25 in there, and they're thick boys, they're pretty thick.
Yeah.
And then we got
With three
pork belly.
C's.
Yeah, thick. And then we got pork belly burnt ends, which are my favorite.
Mm,
We got tri-tip burnt ends and brisket burnt ends. I love burnt ends. They're supposed to be crunchy on the outside and kind of fall apart on the inside. And amazing. We had amazing brisket, which the just fell apart, which is a good sign. And then we had smoked turkey, which is an American thing, which absolutely is a delicious. And then Taylor did try cornbread and he said it was amazing.
nice, nice. What
So
was that?
yeah.
What was that place that you went to here in Amsterdam? I forgot the name of it, but I really want to try it.
Salmuera, or
Is that
which place is it specifically? You gotta be more specific.
is that the place, the brisket place that you went to?
Mm.
That awesome brisket place.
You have to go to a place called Pendergast. So anyone that's in Amsterdam,
Mm,
Pendergast is run by a guy that's half Dutch and he's also half American. And he's actually from Kansas City, Missouri, which is known for having really good barbecue in the States. And it's American grade, like it's American grade quality of barbecue. He does
nice.
have a little bit of a modern spin on it for some things, like the cornbread. Not really a fan. There's like full chunks of corn in it, which was kind of weird because the point of cornbread is that like it's smooth and it's, I don't know. So there's little twists on things, but if you do go there, get a hot toddy. He's really good at making, if anyone doesn't know what a hot toddy is, it's my favorite drink. And I probably need one right now because my voice is just like, I must have like, I don't know, I must have slept with my like mouth open or something. I have no idea.
Tape that mouth
But
shut.
it's I know, but it's whiskey with hot water and lemon. And he actually does a little bit of a twist with like a lavender one, a lavender and thyme.
Mm,
So yeah, he's also like a cosmetologist. Wait, no, that's something different. He's a
cosmetology. I think that's
no,
correct. A
cosmetology is like for
mixologist.
people that get their beauty, a mixologist. Yeah,
Yeah.
not a cosmetologist. Like you don't need to go to him for a haircut or facial or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so those are the places. And Salmuera, my friend Ivan finally went to Salmuera, which is in Jordan, in Amsterdam. And oh my God, man, I never knew lime was good on ribs. Like they have
Mm.
these killer spare ribs and I never knew you could like enjoy lime on pig so much. Um, so yeah, so there's a couple places to go. Salmuera, Pendergast, for sure go there.
That sounds awesome. I kind of
Yeah.
I like the idea of if I'm gonna sometimes have like a bit of a, I don't know, cheat meal, cheat day, go to like a really good like brisket place where they maybe put a bit of sauce on, because the sauce is gonna have like a bit of sugar and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's still better than like, pigging out on, I don't know, pizza and burgers and
Yeah.
things like that.
That's what, you know what, cheating can be expensive. And that's kind of what I
Yeah.
call it. Like I always tell Taylor, like if I'm craving something and it's kind of off base, then I'll be like, let's go to that really good steak place. So
Yeah.
then like I won't want anything,
Yeah.
but I'll
Let,
also like pay a lot. I don't know.
get get the best, like the best thing that you're going to. In fact, I mean, we spoke, I think 2 weeks ago. It was last week. I went out with a friend in Amsterdam, and I was really craving like a good pizza. So I was like, okay, cool. If I'm gonna do this, let me like walk around the city. It's a Saturday. Let me find the best pizza place that I can find. So we eventually found this pizza place, and it was amazing. It was so
Is it
good.
Pizza
And
Bockers?
no, it's actually called
Okay.
Pizza and Prosecco. So the drink Prosecco,
Prosecco. Yeah.
Prosecco, yeah, whatever, however you
You're
say
like,
that.
obviously, I don't drink it.
Obviously, I do not drink that, but I am very interested in the pizza. So I had this margarita pizza, and it was so good. And like literally watched the guy like fling it
Toss
about
it.
in
Yeah.
front of, yeah. And then I had a vodka, lime, and soda with my friend. But it was really nice to be able to just have that, and then like the next day, one, feel like completely fine. Not, I mean, I wasn't feeling great, but I was feeling fine, and just to get right back onto eating the way I do. So
Yeah.
it was nice to experience that, but it's definitely not something that I would do all the time, because it was just so damn tasty, and I could see why, like, why people can just like absolutely binge out on that.
Well,
But
yeah.
yeah, there's something to be said on like, if you are craving something, like let's just say like for a couple of weeks on end, I don't know what it is, but if you're gonna do it, just do it properly. Don't skimp out on yourself. Don't like sell yourself short.
Yeah.
Don't go for this like random little, the first pizza place you
Domino's pizza.
exactly. Like, go to the best place you can, go to a local place, go with somebody you love, enjoy yourself, have a good time, and then just get straight back on it. I
Yeah.
don't know, it's something
I will
around.
say, like, I have two tricks to cheating. Like, I know that sounds weird. I have tricks to cheating that I can help you cheat. No. I do like, I have a huge sweet tooth, right? Like that's kind of like my problem, is that I have a huge sweet tooth and I feel like I'm still disconnecting like how I'm feeling in the moment versus like why I want to eat something, you know? It's like, hey, like what's going on with you that makes you want to eat something? So I tend to ask myself the question, and sometimes I have a conversation with myself out loud in front of Taylor,
Mhm.
and he's like, oh my God, you're a psychopath.
Oh,
Like,
fuck.
I'm like, why do I want a can of ice cream right now? Like, let's think about this. Okay, I'm stressed. I just moved.
Yeah.
Like, not everything's in place yet. I'm feeling a little bit out of like control. So like that's why it's like I'll have this conversation with myself that kind of just like freaks out whoever's near you, but it actually kind of works because you say it out loud. But I would just say like to you, like, right, like the cheating thing, like my number one thing is like do not have a cheat day.
Mm.
Like do not have a cheat day. If you have a cheat something, like have a cheat dessert or have a cheat meal.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
agree.
thing that I think really throws people off, especially for me, I'm like an overeater anonymous, man. Like
Mhm.
I can't do that. So like if you get into like a position where it's not just a meal or not just a dessert or not just like one thing that you want to eat and then you're done, like your craving is satisfied, then you need to look like inward and see what's going on. But that's what throws me off. Like if it's not
Mhm.
just a cheap meal and it's like, oh, a little bit here, a little bit there, then like you're like 2 days later, you're like, what just happened? Like
Yeah.
where did my conscience go? And especially in times when people are in stress, I think like those are the times where you should stick to carnivore more, but we
Mm.
tend to want something to satisfy like the emotional side of our brain, being like, hey, like give me something, give me that serotonin to make me feel better, like that, give me that
Mhm.
hit. So yeah, number one, only eat a meal or like a dessert if you're gonna cheat, because it'll just, snowball or whatever. And then the second thing is like if you're gonna cheat, make it like a super expensive thing. So that way you can't afford to cheat all the time.
Mm.
Like you were saying, like get something top quality. So that way, like maybe it's processed less, maybe it's actually made with whole ingredients, and maybe the ingredients are actually good, because anytime I cheat, like I feel awful. Like I had some barbecue sauce last night. I'm not gonna lie. So here's the thing. Last night, they did not put like drenched barbecue sauce on everything. The only barbecue sauce that I actually ate was the two ribs I got when I was waiting, which were like completely drenched. Those were like spare ribs.
Mm.
So those are the ones they give you, and those are just completely drenched. And like I feel like I'm kind of like nasally as well this morning. And I don't
Mm.
know like what was in like the barbecue sauce, but I just avoid it because usually it's like wheat, there's some flour, like flour in it. There's a lot of sugar. But
Mm.
they didn't do that with any of the pieces. Like even the ribs had like this tiny, tiny, tiny amount of sauce on it, which like you could avoid. But yeah, like those spare ribs, I think kind of like threw me off because last night I like woke up and I was like, oh, like my stomach's a little bit like
Yeah.
that barbecue sauce kind of like got me.
Yeah, got you.
So yeah, I don't
And
know.
and I think I'd add like onto that list, it's always good to have like a really high protein, meal before you decide to have something like that is just not going to be on point with whatever you are doing. Like, so for instance, when I had that like pizza last week, um, for lunch, or like, I don't know, very late lunch going into dinner, I had like a big ass steak and I was so full. Like, I could have probably not had the pizza, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. But I was so full already that the chances of me just going overboard that evening was just so slim. Like, but
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, having a cheat day historically has not worked for me. It's
No.
terrible. Like,
Well, because you have to think of our past, like, and how
oh,
we are.
exactly. I'll give you like the rundown. I remember like I used to do this. This used to be my life for like a couple of years. So I would, on a Saturday, I would train, do CrossFit in the morning. Actually, I'd normally run like 5Ks in a fasted state, then do CrossFit.
You're
my
insane, but go
my
on.
my body was so like fatigued and tired, but at the same time it was kind of like in the state of euphoria, because I just think I had so much adrenaline running through me at the time, that after that I would have a croissant, an omelet, a flat white, and that was my first meal. And then usually for lunch I would honestly just pig out on like pizzas, donuts, fruit juices, everything. And then when it came to dinner, I was just, I've just got like images of me sitting in my apartment, just feeling like something had taken over me. Like I was like,
Yeah.
who is this person? And that was, I mean, that was in a very emotional time for me, emotional eating. But like you're so right, like putting it to a meal, and preferably, I know we spoke about this in the past, but like your last meal, so like your dessert. So
Yeah.
like the pizza for me the other night was like my dessert. That makes it almost impossible to go any further than that, because you're going to be so tired, by the time that's done. You're going to be going to bed, and then it's going to be tomorrow. It's not like the whole day has been filled with eating a whole bunch of shit
Yeah.
and
That's
things
another
that,
good tip. Like limit yourself to being the last part of the day, just because it'll affect
yeah.
your blood sugar less.
Mm.
And then you're going to bed, so you can't be eating in your sleep. I mean, maybe some people can, but like the thing is that you're gonna be sleeping, so you're not gonna be like
Mm.
eating all this stuff.
Mm.
That's a really good tip,
and
actually.
I usually so I sort of always like to simplify things, and I have this mantra. It's like you have to deserve your carbs. So
Exactly.
usually I would put those carbs to good use. So like before them, I would have trained like a very hard session on a Saturday, and those carbs, were put to good use. It's not like I was sitting around doing nothing. But if you're going to be sitting around doing nothing, or if you like a bit overweight, or you want to lose some weight, for instance, like it's probably not a good idea to have a cheat
Yeah.
meal or
Don't.
fruits,
I would do
or
not cheat.
and especially if you like starting out your healing journey, like even if you're not doing it for like weight reasons, you're doing it for like mental health reasons. It's
Inflammation,
probably,
etc.
it's
Yeah.
probably a good idea for like, I normally like say like at least 3 months, give it a shot. 90 days, give it a shot, where you go strict carnivore, because it's sort of like it helps purge other things in your life as well. I'm talking about like, I'm going to get very philosophical and say like toxic relationships, things like that. Because the minute you do
Yeah.
that, the minute you cut yourself off from almost everything except you and your food source, you have this relationship with yourself that gets strengthened, and the people that are really like going to be caring about you and worried about you will stick with you, and the ones that won't. But it's a
Hmm.
good detox, it's a good thing to do regardless. So I'm not having this cheat meal 3 months in. I've been doing this for like a very, very long time. It's just
Yeah.
something that I enjoy.
That's
So
honestly like that's the first thing that people ask me, because people have come to me and been like, hey, like I'm gonna try carnivore, like, or hey, like I've been doing carnivore for 30 days, like how often do you cheat? And in the beginning it was about 7 to 8 months until I cheated, like until I did anything that was impure. Like I started out 2 steaks a day. um like it was very, very clean to get the benefits. I will say that again, right? Like you cannot do this diet and be cheating weekly, be cheating monthly. Like that's not how it works, right? And I think the reason is like when you get further into it, obviously, like you can see what affects your body and you test things out. And it's like, hey, maybe you're Josh and you do CrossFit and you want rice a little bit, or maybe you don't want the rice, and you do function fine doing CrossFit just on meat. That's fine. It's going to be different for everyone. But the people that are coming to this place of trying carnivore, and I was one of them, like we're in an area of desperation, right? Like we're in this situation where like, for example, I had awful stomach issues. I had inflammation in my back and my bad knee, like that wouldn't go away. And once I was on it for a couple of months, that's when I saw the improvement. I mean, my stomach was like 2 weeks, which is insane. But it's just one of those things where like people come into things with like the wrong context. And we've talked about this before with other influencers that are in like the carnivore space, where they're like, yeah, have honey, have fruit, have blah, 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 right? And it's like, it's not what your body needs at that time to heal when you're so fresh into things. Maybe 2 years down the road, 1 to 2 years down the road, if you want to experiment with honey, go ahead. But I think that it's important to know that like a lot of those people went from very, very strict carnivore like we did, and then started introducing things a year or two into it. It's not, I don't know, it just really bugs me because I think people get the wrong information and they're like, carnivore is a sham, it's not working. And it's like, yeah, dude, you're like putting honey on your steak every night. Or I don't know if people do that. That'd be really gross. I
Some
hate
people
honey.
do. I've seen this
Wait,
one guy
what?
that's
I literally hate honey. So like whenever
I've
someone says that, I'm like,
I've seen this one guy. He's a raw carnivore. He has mango, honey, raw steak, like all on the same plate. And like mango is sweet enough as it is. I don't know if I can add honey on a mango and have a steak on top of that as well.
oh
That just sounds
man.
a bit too much for me.
So here's the thing, like I think that people think of fruits being like this version of sugar, like that's fine, but you know, it's the fructose, it's the sugar in it, it's like the different types of sugars in it that
Mm,
affect you.
mm,
And these fruits that we're eating now are totally different than what they were that our ancestors ate like hundreds of thousands of years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like they've been genetically modified, right? So that they do have higher sugar contents, they're more tasty, right? I guarantee you a banana, like we've talked about this before in like all of our podcasts, but like the difference in like old bananas from like hundreds of thousands of years ago versus today's banana, right? Like the old banana is like a circle and it's like a little
mm.
tiny thing. And ours are just like, you know, fucking
Yeah.
huge. But it's so funny because you're like, dude, like these foods are genetically modified so that we can
Mm,
consume them and that we actually like them, right? Like they taste good to us. So I think people forget about that like if you are into like the ancestral way, just know that like, you know, the berries that you're eating today are very different than what the berries looked like years ago,
mm.
right? So one thing to note.
And that's a really good point. And I would say that I don't know if I spoke about this in the last episode, but um I got this advice from Judy Cho though, is the Soleil water that I've been doing. I don't know if you heard of it, but basically it's what you do. It's a game changer.
Okay.
It's a game changer. So you basically take, like, I've got a bottle here. You take like a mason jar type thing, and preferably about 2 liters. So I don't know what sort of metrics that is. What do you use? 2 liters. Is that right?
Don't ask me to do conversions.
Okay,
Like,
two, two,
or-
2 liters. So
just say
I don't
two
know.
liters. Yeah.
I don't know what that is in American,
Look up
but
conversions, babe.
look up
Let's
conversions.
do
But
that.
2 liters, it's pretty like substantial. You take
Yeah.
pink Himalayan salt, so like half a cup. So it's a
Hmm.
lot of salt. Take half a cup of salt, pour it in there, top it up with water, shake it, and then you can leave it in the fridge. I leave mine in the fridge, and it becomes this like soluble form of salt water basically. And then in the mornings, I wake up every single morning now, and I take the Soleil water, and I take about a teaspoon, and I put it in the water in the morning, so I can stir it in the water. So basically what it is that the salt's molecules are unbound because of the water, so they're easier to digest and easier for your body to actually absorb the minerals in the salt. That's why you
Okay.
put it in the water. But it's a really efficient way, because what I used to do um, is I used to wake up and take like just salt and literally put the salt
Put it in
into the
your
water,
water. Yeah, with
stir it
lemon.
around, and I mean it worked, but it wasn't efficient. I found this to be amazing, and it's
So wait, just to clarify too, is this like the equivalent of electrolytes? Like someone putting lament in their water or one of
100%.
those?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
100%. It's exactly that. And why I'm saying this is because often the first line of defense, we're speaking about fruits and carbs and all of those things. Oftentimes people will think, when they're feeling lethargic or tired on carnivore or meat based, is, oh, no, it must be the fruit. I need more honey in my diet or more carbs or whatever. Often it is the electrolytes, and the Soleil water plays a huge role with the sodium that you are more than likely losing on a carnivore diet. it,
Yeah.
it plays a huge role, and it makes a huge difference, the amounts of sodium that you eat. And I know I will say that there are some people in the space like Amber O'Hearn, who believes that we shouldn't have salt on a meat-based diet, that it's actually, we're not meant to. I don't know where I stand on this. I kind of think I'm somewhere in between, but I've definitely found an increased intake of salt and sodium, especially with my outputs with CrossFit and everything, has helped
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are, but this is a very interesting topic because there are
It is.
there's some serious like case. There's a serious case for the fact that, you know, we as carnivores maybe don't need as much salt. And there's also a serious case that we need even more salt than the normal
Mhm.
person that eats carbs. So I don't know where you stand on this, but I'm certainly like experimenting and confused.
Yeah.
But
No, I
I've
love
found
that.
I've found that having
Sole water.
the sole water in the morning has made a huge difference to how I feel, you know.
Yeah. So here's the thing on this. So if you come from any other diet that has any type of processed food, or the standard American diet, SAD, for example, a very sad diet, you're gonna look at the ingredients, right? Like on the side, and it's gonna have like sodium, 220 grams per serving. And there's like 5 servings in there or something, right? So your salt intake when you're on a SAD diet is extremely high because of the processed foods and how much sodium is added into those processed foods, right? So let's say that most people who start carnivore, they're not keto, maybe they're just going into it, cold turkey from a SAD diet, right? They're going to experience a lot of salt loss, right? Because if you're only ever like seasoning with some salt and pepper on your steaks and stuff like that, you're only going to get so much salt. Maybe you get sodium a lot from sausage links. There's a lot of sodium in there. But anyways, let's just say someone's doing carnivore, they're eating 2 steaks a day, they're using table salt, like that's it. They're not going to get nearly as much salt as they got previously in their SAD diet, right? So it's going to feel probably like kind of shitty.
Mm,
And it's going to be different and they're going to have to acclimate to that. So I think there's some people that do acclimate to that and it's not a big deal and they get over it. There's other people that I've heard that go into keto or carnivore and like they get the keto flu, right? Like the symptoms of like, withdraw from salt, withdraw from sugar, all those things, and you feel shitty. And then you have the third thing where there's actually people who are trying to sell electrolyte versions of these things. So I always kind of look at the seller of these, like who are the people that are pro salt? Are they the people that are manufacturing different electrolyte enhancers to, target to the keto and carnivore community because they want to make money? Like I kind of think about that as well. Like that's like another thought in my head,
mm,
like who's making money in this situation? But then also like, I don't know, I feel like I've also experienced not having enough salt in my diet and like feeling, kind of shitty and wanting more electrolytes. So I kind of see like all sides of it. I do want to try the Sole water because I want to first see how that goes. But I don't know. In a way, I feel like it varies person by person on
mm.
like the salt intake and what they're eating and everything. I think I get plenty of salt, and that's probably because every now and then I have link sausage, which has like a lot of salt in it. And I do love my Himalayan salt on my steak. So there's some people that don't put, okay, so the people that are against salt, like, or the like, I guess having additional salt, like they like, okay, sorry, let me take a step back. The people that are saying you don't need salt, are you telling me that they're eating steaks without like salt or pepper?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I
let me
and I
just like,
the
why
reason why
though? Like, why?
the reason why I said that is because I tried that like
Ew,
the beginning
sorry.
of last year. No, that's what I'm
I feel
saying.
really judgy, but like, no.
The beginning of last year, I tried. I listened to Amber O'Hearn's case, and
Yeah,
as somebody who's passionate about self experimentation and things like that,
you're open.
I tried going like saltless basically, and I must say I don't
Okay.
think it worked very well. Because can I tell you why? I found myself, so here's my theory, is I wasn't having any salt in my steak and I got pretty used to it, but I found myself craving like burger patties from Burger King and McDonald's
Oh,
more and more. And guess what?
triggering other cravings.
No, but that's where the salt was, because their patties are salted. So I was craving their like another food source because my salt intake was not, this is purely unscientific, and it's just
No, I
me.
get it.
But
Wait, so is it the environment or is it the individual though?
well, I don't know. But what I'm saying is like, so I was getting all of my salt from Burger King patties and cheese. So I was craving a lot of cheese, and cheese has a lot of salt in it. So my body was naturally like craving salt.
Oh my
You know what I'm
gosh.
saying?
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah,
So even though you like limited one thing, it's like, okay, where's the other salt? Where's the other salt? I need it. I need it. And you're
exactly,
like, okay,
exactly.
so I'm not winning by doing this, right?
And it was unconscious. It was like I was unconscious. Like I only sort of like figured that out, as I gradually went by. And I mean, you know what I like about the Soleil water? It's free. It's like it's
Yeah.
free, and a supplement company, I completely agree with you. Like, follow the money is definitely something you should be always asking yourself. Um, but like companies like Element, who do the electrolytes drink mix, on their website, they literally advertise. They say you can make this drink by yourself. You don't need to buy our products. So I like that. I like that they
Yeah.
are
You
basically
said that.
saying you can make a form of Soleil water yourself, and you don't have to buy a product. And the reason I'm saying that is because I've got a couple of friends that drink electrolyte supplements. And the problem I have is, and I know Michaela Peterson has spoke about this, is that
Mhm.
they have citric acid in. So if you are very, let's just say, you're very new to the carnivore journey, the healing journey and things, something as simple as citric acid, if I'm an electrolyte supplement, can throw you off. It can actually make your sleep worse. And it can give you like heartburn, a bit of indigestion. So I used to take like a lot of magnesium supplements with citric acid, and I found that I didn't feel great after I had them. I actually felt worse. I felt like I had indigestion, and it
Yeah.
was more it was more
I've had the
likely.
same. I've had the
Yeah.
same with the seltzer water, no, seltzer water drinks. They put citric
Yes.
acid in them, and I didn't know for the longest time it was like sugar free and everything, and or like very low sugar. And I was like, oh, everything's organic and except for the citric acid. And I was like, Taylor, I have the worst heartburn. Like, or it comes up from your stomach, right? And it's kind
Yeah.
of like GERD or something.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out what it was because it's not the steak. And then I was like, it's these freaking drinks. Okay. Wait, by the way, I did pull up the ingredients of Lament. So it's Lament, L
Share
M
your
N
screen.
T.
Let's do it first. Share your
Um,
screen.
okay, let's be
No
careful
pressure.
what you have to. Oh, host disabled screen sharing. But I can just tell you there's four
But yeah.
ingredients. So there's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, there's 200 milligrams of potassium, and there's 60 milligrams of magnesium. But it doesn't, the annoying part is that this is just showing me like it's not showing me what else is in there. So like if the citric acid is in there, it's not showing it to me. Do you know what I mean? So like when I click on ingredients on the website, it only shows that one and the other one. So it doesn't actually, oh, do you have something or what
So
is
I
that?
I just got it from the fridge. This is it.
Is that your Soleil water?
Yeah. So that's literally, and this has lasted me maybe like 3 weeks. So it lasts a very long time, but it's literally just pink Himalayan salt in water. And then you put like it's very strong. You put like a tablespoon into a glass of water in the morning. And it's really sweet. It, like, in the morning, you're obviously quite dehydrated because you just spent the whole night sleeping. I actually quite look forward to this. It's actually it's like having a shot of coffee basically in the morning before you.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
So I guess for this, just to re-clarify, the Soleil water is your version. If you're feeling like you're lacking electrolytes, the Soleil water is what you can make at home. Just use a jar, 2 liters water, 1/2 cup of Himalayan salt. Do not use normal table salt. Like, do not use that. Try to veer away from that, I would say,
Some people,
just for quality,
not,
I
yeah,
guess. No?
not table salt, but some people do mix. I know you guys got a very good brand there, that real, what's it called, real salt by. There's a brand in America called Real Salt by something. I don't know what brand it is.
Is it kosher salt though? Because like if you get here's the thing. If you get the kosher salt, like the table salt, it's like you can't avoid the processing and other like chemicals and stuff being in there.
Yeah, and it's unprocessed.
Is it pink
I'm
Himalayan salt or is it white salt?
it's literally called real salt, according
Real
to,
salt.
yeah, ancient fine sea salt.
Oh, real salt. Okay. I
Yes.
know what you're talking about. So I think
So
this is sea salt though.
yeah, so some people mix uh the two. So you can mix a little bit of sea salt and a little bit of pink Himalayan salt together, and
Okay, so
then
that's
you,
different than what I was talking about. Like if you find sea salt, because this is by Redmond, like the
yes,
brand.
that's the
So
brand.
this is like real, like if this is not table salt. So some people literally like still use table salt, which like if it's not in like the crystal form, like pink Himalayan or sea salt, it's highly processed and there's a lot of toxicities in it, kind of like what we were talking about with the mold and coffee and stuff. So okay, that makes me feel a lot better. I was like, Josh, don't tell people to eat the kosher like table salt. But yeah, no. Okay, so sea
Well,
salt or the Himalayan.
yeah, it says, yeah, like I'm just looking, there's a list here. Any of the following chemicals are common in sodium chloride, which is table salt, like
All right, let's hear them.
calcium, calcium carbonate, calcium silicate, magnesium carbonate, magnesium oxide, silicon dioxide, sodium aluminosilicate. So
What about titanium oxide? Is that in there?
probably there's a lot more. Yeah. But anyway, I agree with you. Like normal table salt, which AKA is the sodium that they put in all of those link sausages and all the preservatives, that's not good for you in
Yeah.
general. But good harvest pink Himalayan salts and unrefined sea salt is, I would say, okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so you put a half cup in 2 liters and then you just leave that in the fridge. And then you'll take like a tablespoon, teaspoon, put it in your water in the morning, just as you would with like a electrolyte additive or whatever. Right.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you don't even have to have it all in the morning. You can put it in, like, I don't know if, like, I normally have a 2 liter that I carry around with me the whole day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You can put it in there and just spend the whole day like just sipping that, and you're basically getting like 1,000 milligrams of sodium, which is like considered the bare minimum threshold for the
Yeah.
amount that you need each day. So that's a good thing. It makes life a whole lot
Okay.
easier. Yeah.
People always talk about like, when you eat saturated fats and stuff like that, that you're going to like die because there's like way too much sodium and everything. But like, it's just so weird to me because like people don't take the time to look at their cereal and see how much sodium is added to their cereal. Like, look at your Pop Tarts, look at your cereal, look at your Oreos. Like, there's so much added sodium. So I always get a kick out of people being like, oh, you're going to die from eating too much salt, or like you put too much salt on your steak. And it's like, dude, this is probably like 40 milligrams or like, of
Mm.
sodium. Like, please look at your cereal or your granola and get back to me.
it's
Like,
it, it's just the narrative, really, like
yeah,
the dominating narrative over the past, what, 170 years or whatever, is saturated fats is bad, you should limit your salts, and if you do that you're gonna be healthy and live longer. And I mean, it's actually, it, according to most, it's the complete opposite. Like, you should
yeah,
be increasing your salt intake in a good way. You should be increasing your saturated fats intake in a good way. You should be getting sunlight. So everything they told you, just try and follow the exact opposites, and you'll be on the path
literally.
to freedom.
Yeah, like that's the biggest thing for me is that this huge campaign about like getting out of the sun, like people think it's going to make them look younger if they don't get exposed to the sun, right? Like there's a girl who wrote a whole book about get out of the sun. And it's like all
Wow.
about skincare and taking care of yourself. And it's like more in like the influencer like community.
Hmm.
But I always think I'm like, dude, like you should not get out of the sun. Like, we have the lowest level of vitamin D like ever. Like we have so much vitamin D deficiency in people. And it's because of crap like this where people are like, get out of the sun, like you shouldn't be in the sun, like it's gonna cause wrinkles. Josh, how many wrinkles do I have? Like I don't have Botox. I don't have
Next to
like
nothing.
how many it's just like, dude, I'm in
No.
the sun like every day. Like I try to go in the sun every day. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like
And
at all.
I will add, for what it's worth, it's like, if you, that person that wrote that book, so are you telling me you're going to live the rest of your life trying to avoid something that is inherent to the earth, and you're going to live inside? And sure, I've seen people that avoid the sun. Occasionally their skin does look really good, and I I don't care about that. I want to be outside. I feel the best when I'm outside.
Exactly.
If I get a few freckles here and there from the sun, I don't give a shit. I'd rather be out in the sun, feel good, move well, get my vitamin D, sleep well, than be, somebody who sits inside all day and it tries to avoid every single stressor that comes at me. And sure, I mean, you can overdo the sun, but you can overdo anything. Anything's a
Totally.
stressor if you do it too much. But you're right. You go in the sun every day. You got no wrinkles.
No. Well, I will tell you, I probably take it a step further. So I'm one of the people like once every 14 days, once every 10 days, I actually go in a tanning bed for 15 minutes. And I feel like people like freak out about this because they're like, oh my God, like you're gonna get cancer, like you're killing yourself. And I'm like, well, I'm not eating Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
I'm like not doing, I don't take any medications. I'm, pretty pure. But the thing is that I realized is when I'm in like a place that doesn't have sun, like San Diego or South Africa, right? Where like literally it's 65, 70, you can go out and get in the sun, right? Like I go outside every day, regardless of like the weather, just because I need that exposure to outside. And I
Mm.
try to find the sun as much as I can, right? However, like that's not enough for me in addition to that. So what I do is once every 10 days, once every 14 days, I'll go into a tanning bed for 15 minutes and I will literally have the same exact process that the sun does with the UV rays, which converts your cholesterol, the cells that have cholesterol in them, to vitamin D. It literally mimics the same process, does the same exact thing. However, like anything, I'm not telling people, hey, like, you know what, just lather on baby oil and go into the 90-degree heat
Mm.
and stay in the sun for hours, right? Like my number one thing is like 30 minutes, dude. Just try to get like 30 minutes a day of like the sun wherever you are. Just like get the
Mm.
sun in your eyes in the morning, right? Like just get that exposure. But I'm also like, I like the feeling when like it's winter here and I can't actually like get like the full body, do you know what I mean? Like in the sun going, I will do tanning beds.
Yeah.
And I think people just like freak out, which is like, but I just want to like let people know like once every 10 days, once every 2 weeks, I think is totally fine.
Mm.
And it's actually like a lot more popular in Europe, I would say.
Yeah. And if it makes you, I mean, if it makes you feel exactly like, honestly, if it makes you feel good and it gives you more energy, and like, fuck it, do it. Like no one, the people that are like the trolls on social media and people that have a lot to say probably aren't doing much with their lives. They're not experimenting themselves. They're not open to new ideas. And that that to me, it doesn't bother me one bit. It's like you just need to do the things that you think are going to help you the most and find your own variation of it. Actually, I read this quote the other day, which I really love, but it's from Nietzsche. I think I'm saying his name correctly, but
Mm-hmm.
it basically, there's more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy. So
Yeah.
I love this because when you respect, when you give your body what it needs to like thrive, like sunlight, good nutrition, whatever, mindfulness, or whatever that is to you. I'm not here to prescribe something specific, but when you do that, it kind of rewards you with a clear head, a good mood. Your body starts to take a different shape. You start to feel good because you actually you're actually feeding the one thing that is tangible. It's the one thing that's with you all the time,
Mm-hmm.
instead of like ignoring it. So I completely agree with you. It's like, do what needs to be done. And the people that are sitting on the sidelines, they're not doing much.
Yeah.
I don't
It's just, yeah, it's just so crazy, I guess, because like I always thought that I would live in a sunny place and I'd never have to do this. Like I've literally never had to do this until I moved to Amsterdam. And I was like, dude, I need full body sun like once every 10 days, once every 14 days. Like I know that I need that. And after the first time I did it when I was in Amsterdam, I was like, okay, I need this every 10 days or every 2 weeks. Like hands down was like the best feeling ever, because you still get that same feeling when like you're in the sun, you know, like, and it does the same thing to your cells. It gives you that vitamin D production as well. So I don't know. I just like, I don't think I'll ever like, unless it's like summertime, right? Like, so here's the thing, in the summertime, like if there's sun and like you can actually go out in it, like if you can go out in your bathing suit and like get some rays, right? Awesome. You probably don't need like the tanning bed on top of it, because like you're getting it,
Yeah.
right? But during the winter, like that was just like huge change, you know, like you can eat supplements, right? Or like not supplements, but like heart, liver to get vitamin D, which I do in addition to that. But like you also just, you need the sun. Like the sun is your friend. And it's just so crazy to me to like someone to be talking about just avoiding it, like wearing hats, wearing gloves. So like no point of the sun can like penetrate your skin. And I'm just like, what? Like, no, like, and like we wonder why we have the vitamin D deficiency here in the US and all over the world, really, because people are like avoiding it. And then on the other hand, you also have the situation where you were talking about like we are eating the least amount of meat in the history of mankind, right? Like we're eating the like smallest amount of meat in today's world than we ever
not me
had.
and you, but
No, not
the
me
rest
and
of
you,
the
but like the world, right? And so you have like the decline in
yeah.
protein and meat consumption, and then you have the incline of disease, of, you know, cardiac issues, of heart disease, all these different things, right? And a lot of times people relate back to like, hey, when this decline in, you know, meat happened was like in the 1970s, which, you know, the Crisco, the invention of these vegetable oils came to be and was being widely used in processed foods. So you have an increase in processed food intake, an increase in vegetable oils in your body, and you have a decrease in just meat, like normal protein, not processed, right? So how is there not like, it's hard to imagine that people are trying to blame, you know, these diseases and everything on meat, because we're eating the lowest amount we ever have, and we have the highest amount of chronic disease and illness in the US, especially to date. So it's not the meat, like blaming meat for all of these issues isn't really accurate to do so, right? We have to look at what happened, right? So I just thought that was an interesting point to make, especially when people try to like villainize meat and
Yeah,
make it the problem.
100%. And I was pondering on this the other day and just thinking about, you know, my time spent here in Europe, and like just how perfectly packaged everything is here. I'm just giving an example. So like this whole, you know, I spoke about this on Instagram. I struggle to find at the average supermarket, I struggle to get a steak that's bigger than 300 grams, for instance. All the
Oh
steaks are
yeah.
tiny. So I buy like 10 jumbo steaks, and I feel like I walk in the shop and this is normal for me, but like people look at me and I'm holding all these bags of meats and I'm like, guys, this is for 2 days. Like this is a shoot.
Imagine buying for two people for 2 days.
Exactly. And it's like everything here works so well, like perfectly well. And everything is so perfectly packaged. It's like we are, we being, and again, I'm certainly not one to think that there's some like higher force order, like they, you know, big pharma, big food controlling everything. Like, sure, they are controlling a lot of things, but people just want to make profits. And I understand it. Like, people just want to make profits. So how do we do that? We market these like little perfectly packaged pieces of food that are convenient. So it's just so easy. I've seen the Jumbo down where I live. People walk in there every day, get their bread, their like little granola bars, fruit juices, and things like that. And it's just so easy to do that. And it's so convenient. Whereas like cooking your steak every day is like there is an element of like work that you have to do to make sure that you're eating well. But that work, you are rewarded with good health, feeling good, having mental clarity, and all of these things. So I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes sense, but I've just been thinking about how perfectly packaged everything is in Europe. And I'm not just talking about food, like everything.
No, it is. And like, I think you have a good point saying like that, like, you know, there are people where like, it's kind of like the narrative to an extent where like big pharma and big food only does so much. I feel like it's almost like, you know, the neighbor who's like watching the neighbor who wants to report on the neighbor kind of thing, where like people end up becoming like kind of like the tools of big food and big pharma and become their own enemy by being like, okay, well, like I'm going to go ahead and package these steaks perfectly into 300 grams for each thing. They cannot be off by any means. They're going to be smaller steaks because we think that people should take a, you know, step back and eat less meat. It's kind of like, it's like this whole, I feel like it's like almost like a trickle down theory coming from big food and pharma, where like literally you don't really know that it's like coming from them. But like here you are like running a Yumbo, like a grocery store, and then you're cutting these meat a certain way and like in the smallest portion because that's what you believe people should eat in one sitting.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
It's really weird.
It's super weird, especially from somebody who's come from like South Africa, where it's just like, boom, like here's meat. Like you go to like Woolworths, which is a very well-known supermarket chain there.
Yeah.
And it's like just meat on meat. It's just like you can get anything you want. And
but
I love
the
that.
cuts are different, right? Like at US, like the cuts are all different. And like then it's just per pound that they'll weigh it, or like per kilogram, and then it comes out to that. But like I do think that Yumbo, like, and a lot in like Europe, like they're very particular and there's only so many kinds. Like if anything's out of, well, I'm just curious, like if anything is imperfect, like do they throw it away because it's not being sold at the supermarket? We will be getting like, we're going to be getting a deep freeze, and a deep freeze is based, do you know what a deep freeze is?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just I don't know. We're gonna get a deep freeze and we want to get half a cow. And our friend has like the hookup for a good cow that you can get, but we have to butcher it ourselves. So
wow, that's gonna be interesting.
I'll have to make like a video of this or something, because we're gonna be like watching YouTube videos, trying to like be like, okay, this is this cut from this side. But it kind of also brings it back to a more ancestral view, like hunting and getting your own food. Like, you know, if we ever have to hunt, I remember like I made a video of hunting when we were up north in August of 2021. And like it literally, like I could see the amount of views on reels for Instagram, and like Instagram blocked like my video. Like it literally had like the least amount of views I've ever seen for any one of my reels. And I was like, no kidding, like something like dangerously low. I was like, it was like, I think like 300. And like most of the other ones are like in the thousands, you know? And I was like, well, of course, because it's showing me like, you know, us like skinning and like, you know, like just hunting. But it's just, we're getting so far away from that with our food that you have to remember, like, if I do have to cut my own cow, I'm like, okay, cool. Like that's what people do. Like that is reality. You know, like if I'm not comfortable cutting my own cow to eat, then I probably shouldn't be eating it, because like you need to get in touch with some of these things. And I'm just thankful that we have access to it, you know. It's going to be a pretty penny, but I mean, I think it'll be
can't wait
worth
for that.
it.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll probably get like blocked again on my reels or whatever, but like, or censored, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. And I think that is one thing, like you were talking about, like one of the pros living in South Africa and America is that we are into our meat. Like you can still get good meat and find larger portions and stuff like that. Like Taylor and I had a joke where we would have like a pre-dinner snack before having our Yumbo steak that was like 280, 300 grams because it was so small.
I
or we would be
you.
like, oh, post-dinner snack. because you never like, or like a really late lunch or something, because I felt like
Mm,
it was just so like measly, and
mhm.
they all look the same. And it kind of like, I don't know, it just like, it's
Yeah.
too uniform. Like it's too, I
Yeah.
don't know, like, I don't know.
You, you're so right. Like the fact that it's like trying to remove yourself from the image of like death that's occurred. But the fact is that, no matter what you eat, something is going to die for what you eat. So it's how you what you deem to be more worthy of life or less worthy of life.
But here's the thing, who are we to decide what is more worthy? That's, I think that's my biggest
Yeah.
qualm when, vegans are like, I don't want to kill animals. Like, and it's like, dude, like, do you know how many animals are killed in your crops? Like eagles, rats, bunnies, squirrels, like every single type of rodent, every single type of bird that's like a threat is
Yeah.
killed when you're in like crops and fields, making your grains and everything as well.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is like, I feel like the argument that you value like an animal's life is bullshit, because you're killing all these other things for your fields and your crops to thrive. But you're telling me that a cow's life is more important than an eagle, than a bird, than a squirrel, than a bunny. It's like you can't play God
Mm.
and decide which one's more. So that's my biggest issue, I think, with the argument that you don't want to kill an animal, because you're right. No matter what you eat, an animal is dying for you to enjoy it, for sure.
Yeah. Unless you like one of those people that I see like a fruitarian. I love watching these videos of these fruitarians that just live on fruit. I don't know if you've seen videos
Oh
of
my
these
God. Yeah.
people.
So
It's
Sean Baker does remixes.
yeah,
And
like
like,
that.
honestly, like, I wish I had the balls to do that, but I don't want like more trolls in my life.
Yeah.
But I was so just looking at it, and I just wanted to like do what Sean Baker does and do a remix with one of these people and eat my steak. Um, and just like, I don't know. I like thought about doing that,
It's like
but
this
like, I
massive six
don't,
foot seven guy eating his steak there while like
I
this
know.
vegetarian is busy
Or
explaining his
like
whole life
making
story.
the banana bacon. Like, so people
Oh,
love
I love
the
that.
banana. It's like, dude, bacon cannot be like, bacon is bacon. Like, copying it should be like a sin. Or
No,
like pretending to enjoy it should be like a sin, because like, dude,
no.
no,
And
you're not
to eat it
convincing me.
to eat a banana peel as well, just that does not sound delectable at all.
Think of all the glyphosate in it. Like, think
Oh,
of all the pesticides that are in like the banana peel too.
yeah.
That's like all I think about, because I think about like avocado skin and like the skin that like protects what's inside. And I'm like watching the video and I'm like, you shouldn't eat that. I was like, don't eat
No,
that. I was like,
no.
don't do it.
It's a skin for a reason. It doesn't want to
Yeah,
be eaten. It's the outer layer of the
totally.
thing. So oh no.
Should we pull Sean Baker and kind of like start a trend of doing like Sean Baker remixes? Like, we can remix his reel of him watching
Of
them
him,
eat, and
yes,
then
yes.
us watching them do it. So
Yeah,
it's like a triple. It's like a
definitely.
triple thing. I don't know. I might do one and I'll let you know. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's just a lot to unpack, especially like today.
Yeah.
Um
Be nice to, I
yeah.
mean, today we've gotten through a lot. Yeah, my notes, I've got brisket, cheat days. I think that's a big one. That's probably going to be the
Yeah.
title of today's episode, is like, cheat meals versus cheat days. The Soleil water.
Hmm.
Give it a try. I would love to hear your thoughts. I don't know if I'm just sort of imagining the benefits of it, but I seriously feel like it can take the place of like coffee. That's how like energizing it is in the morning, which is a big thing for me to say.
Well, if someone, so here's the thing, like, I eventually want kids. And if I ever become pregnant, I'm obviously not going to drink coffee,
Yeah.
obviously, because like, why would I want caffeine? Um, but that would be a really good, thing to just know that like mothers can do that, or like
Mm.
pregnant women can do that and maybe have a similar effect to coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, on top of that, we spoke about the sun as well, and the importance of, always getting in the sun no matter what. I think just getting outside really, like it doesn't,
Yeah.
just getting in the elements, getting your body exposed to the raw elements of the earth and
The
things like
outside
that.
world.
the outside world. And
Yeah.
yeah, but it's been a fun episode. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it definitely has. Hopefully I don't get trolled too hard when I make a remix video with the vegan making like banana stuff, because it probably notifies them.
I'll make a
Like,
remix of your remix. So I'm
okay,
remixing your remix, and that'll be
a
on top of
4-time
that.
remix so
Yes.
we can be like removed from the actual vegan like making the video.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of
Uh,
people watching each other eat steaks. Then it's gonna be
yeah, it's
even
like the
worse. It's
Brady
just gonna
Bunch.
be
It's like the Brady Bunch. We're like,
it's be like, what are these people doing? Are they like exemplifying the meat eating world, or like, yeah, I can just see that going very horribly wrong.
yeah, maybe we just do a meat train though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's different avenues.
Something
There's definitely
there.
the real
Yeah.
remixes, and there's definitely meat ASMR, which like, I don't know, just makes me hungry. But yeah, it's been a great episode. Great catching up with you.
Yep.
And yeah,
As always.
go to those one of those restaurants, Pendergast or Salmuera,
I
and give
will.
it a shot. Try it. Text me before you go so I can tell you like the best thing on the menu.
I will do that.
But it's all really good. So okay. Cheers, everyone.
Peace.